about the 76ers? We haven't gotten into them much, and currently fourth in the East.
How are the Sixers handling this approach by Butler right now?
Well, throughout the organization, ownership, management, certainly the coaching staff, this is their number one priority. They invested a lot in that Jimmy Butler trade. You know, this wasn't made for the short term. They want to re-sign him in free agency, and they want to know that this group, this big three, can go forward together for years, and they have weeks, months to find that out if this group can coexist, if Brett Brown and Jimmy Butler can work together, if Butler can work with Simmons and Embiid. But the focus of this entire organization is on making this work, and they're going to keep chipping away at it right now.
Now, what kind of effect could this have on Butler when you're looking at free agency and the Sixers' relationship moving forward?
Well, listen, there are still teams out there this summer who would have interest in Butler, who have, you know, some hopes and even some belief that Butler may be in a position to go out and take meetings with other teams this summer, that it's not such a done deal with the Sixers. And the Sixers have this year to decide if they want to sign him long term. But that's still their preference. And for Jimmy Butler, his best chance to get, you know, his biggest payday long-term deal is with the Sixers. But there is work to do. There's relationship building that has to come. And there's a trust here that the Sixers have to come with Jimmy Butler to all get on the same page.
16-8 since the deal that brought Jimmy Butler in the blockbuster trade to Philadelphia. Things seemed like they were going okay until today, when there were reports that there was some contention between Coach Brett Brown and Jimmy Butler, a potentially disrespectful encounter that happened in front of the team in a film session. He's not happy with the way he's being used in the offense, is what the report is saying. Does this surprise you? Can you see where Jimmy Butler's coming from, and what was your reaction when you heard it, guys? Steve, we'll start with you.
You know, first of all, let's look at the 76ers. This is a team that's 2.5 games out of first place, and I don't think they played their best basketball. And also, you give them a little leeway because you got to give them a chance because of the trade. They've traded 2 guys for Jimmy Butler, and you figure not bad to be only 2.5 games out of first place. Now to hear this from Jimmy Butler coming out of camp, that's him and the coaching staff, to me is you go into an organization, no doubt about it, the first option is Joel Embiid. No doubt about it that the basketball is going to be handled by Ben Simmons, and you got a guy who's a pass first. So obviously you're the second option as far as offense. I don't understand how it could be a problem where you start talking about offense when you pertain to Jimmy Butler. You're going to have to play off Joel Embiid, and there's nothing wrong with that. You play off great players. If you're a guy that's a spot-up shooter, it fits perfect. If you're a guy that's a slasher, fits perfect because he's going to get double-teamed and he's a good passer. I think you're not looking at the big picture. If all this is true about Jimmy Butler, you're supposed to come there and help this team winning. You have a chance to win. I'm a little disappointed in Jimmy Butler, if this is true, that he's complaining about how his role is in offense. B. Wood.
I'm a little bit disappointed if this is true also. And then I'm also looking at it from a standpoint of Jimmy Butler is a free agent this offseason. You would think that he would be on his best behavior because in Chicago he had problems with players and coaches. In Minnesota, he had problems with players and coaches. And now this is the third stop, Philly, problems with some players and coaches. And it can't be everybody else. At some point, we're going to shine the light on you. So you would think Jimmy Butler would be on his best behavior in a contract year trying to get max money, and he's not. And if you're other teams and you're watching from the outside, you have to be scared to give Jimmy Butler this big money. Do you give this guy $200 million? Because money just makes you more of what you already are. If he's cutting up right now on his salary right now, what do you think you're going to do? What do you think he's going to do if you give him $200 million? So I was a little shocked by this. I thought he would at least behave this season. And once again, if this is true, because a lot of times things come out that aren't true, but if this is true, I'm a little disappointed in Jimmy Butler. I don't think he's playing his hand the right way. Sometimes you have to bite your tongue and you have to go about your business differently than you have been in the past. And that's what he needs to do. If you have a problem with the coach, you don't have to air it out in front of everybody. You can have a meeting and say, listen, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. You can take Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons out to dinner and say, hey, guys, how are we going to do these things differently? This is what I'm thinking. There's a mature way to handle adversity, and then there's the immature way. Too many times we hear about Jimmy handling adversity in an immature manner.
Brendan, for me, is you look at it and there's a lot of players. You see great players. You say, how is it going to work? And that's just our opinion, whether it works or not. But you have a Ben Simmons who just is basically a point guard who's dishing, and obviously he can score. but he's a guy who wants to facilitate. You have a J.J. Redick who's a spot-up shooter, and you have a dominant big in Joel Embiid who can do pretty much everything. It seems like it's perfect for me, for you to be that guy, the second option, slashing, handling the basketball after double teams, in the break, Ben Simmons, you running with him. Whatever style they wanted to play, it looks like to me from an offensive standpoint, it fits. Now, you might not have the same type of numbers. Your numbers might have to come down for our scoring, but bottom line is that you're playing with some great players, some young players that can go get better, and you're only 2.5 games out of first place. I'm baffled if this is a true story.
Do you think that Jimmy realizes that Joel Embiid is the best player on that team? It doesn't sound like it.
He should.
He should, but do you think he realizes
it? Sounds like at minimum he would settle for the two best players are him and Joel Embiid, not Joel Embiid then him. And I don't think he wants to be the guy that gets the kick-out pass for the shot. He wants to be the one that gets to the rim and creates, but they don't have a room in there.
For me,
you mentioned JJ, but he's their only shooter.
It's not about who's the two best players. I think when I heard from what we were saying is obviously speculation, the offense in the role. And to me is you're going to be the second option.
Right.
You're going to be the other guy at the end of games that he runs plays for, and we showed that in Philly. That's the part I'm having. Who's the best player? We can debate that. The first option is Joel Embiid and the best player.
There's no debate.
And there's no debate with that one. But then other than that, who's 1, 2, and 3 in this big three? It really doesn't matter because Ben Simmons is not a guy that's looking to score like that other than to facilitate the basketball. You're the second guy as far as our offensive in that offense to be able to play off Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I just don't know if he's happy with that. And we've seen he was challenging younger guys in Chicago. He was challenging his teammates. In Minnesota, he said those guys didn't want to win. Well, what's the problem here? Your team is winning. You have a shot to do something special
for a long time.
And if you're, like I said, if you're another team, you know, when you bring Jimmy Butler in, he might not be the guy on the team. You might bring in two max guys. How will he mesh with your other players? How will he mesh with that next star that you bring him in with? Jimmy has to realize all eyes are on him right now. Everybody's looking to see what he's going to do, and he's not painting a positive picture.
And then the one thing for me is, and obviously we got the reports, I'm waiting to hear what Jimmy Butler has to say about this last little disagreement.
It can't always be everybody else. Sometimes it's got to be you.
Well, as you pointed out, Brendan, he's always challenged coaches everywhere he's been. And not just teammates, not just being vocal to the media, but challenging the coach. And I think when you're a part of a new team who has a lot of questions going on right now, I was just with the team. First you get the Markelle Fultz news that he has the thoracic outlet syndrome, that all of his shooting woes are actually because of an injury. You lose him. Then you have Ben Simmons, who he had not hit a single shot outside of 14 feet until Christmas Day when he hit that 22-footer. That was his first shot outside of 14 feet.
He hasn't hit a three-pointer since 2015.
It's really unbelievable. Then Joel Embiid speaking out about not wanting to be extended to the three-point line as much to create more space inside and wanting to play, you know,
and then
a more traditional
that
role inside.
2.5 games out of first.
Right.
That's
and
what
Jimmy Butler picks now
2.5 games
to
out of
speak
first.
up about his role. I mean, they need time to figure this all out. It's just they're running out of time with the halfway point coming up.
Summertime's coming as well.
Yeah, summertime's coming as well.
I don't know if they're going to figure it out. Hey, you are who you are. You can change who you are, but that's just the top layer. Man, you was who you was before you got here. The great philosopher, Jay-Z.
Well, I'm glad.
I was about to say.